Hey everyone, welcome to the cruising show here on Northern Viking Explorer. If you're new here, my name is Ken and I'm here with my wife Andrea. Today we're going to be sharing with you our likes and wishes from our recent Caribbean cruise on the Norwegian Prima.
We will be talking about the layout and amenities, our cabin, the free food and restaurants, and the entertainment and activities.
So let's dive into our likes and wishes on the Norwegian Prima. So let's talk about the layout and amenities on the Norwegian Prima. Andrea, do you want to start out?
I'd love to. This is a beautiful ship. It still feels very, very new. It's very modern and minimalistic. It has lots of grays and whites. It reminds me of a high-end office building. Like, it seems very fancy in that way, but simple and clean.
It's interesting you would say that because I would agree. It's very modern, light colors, especially the Penrose atrium area. It's very modern, and that's one of the locations of one of the Starbucks. So it does have that ultra modern, high end luxury office building, but it's relaxing with lots of glass. It's beautiful for sure.
It's very nice. A lot of seating. It just has a nice flow to it.
So why don't we start out? Well, let's talk about the gym. We'll go through some of the main amenities here. So the gym is quite nice.
It is a beautiful. I'm smiling here because I didn't work out this time in the gym.
Well,
and it is a beautiful gym, and I should have, because on a previous cruise when I worked out on the cardio, I got to see a whale.
Yeah. So not
I
this time.
should have been on the cardio equipment, because the cardio equipment has a beautiful view.
Yeah.
Beautiful view of the ocean. It's lovely.
I don't actually think we saw a whale on this cruise.
I don't think so either.
We saw a sea turtle.
That's true.
This is one of the first cruises in a long time we haven't seen a whale.
That is true. That's true. We've been really blessed to see lots of whales.
But back to the gym. I think it's adequate for the size of ship. I would say the main priority is the cardio equipment, so lots of treadmills and ellipticals, that sort of thing. There are machines for upper body and lower body free weights, but not as large on that end as I've seen on other ships. So it's adequate for the size of the ship.
Absolutely.
And
there
nice
was
modern
a
equipment.
studio where they could do some of the booked classes, like the spinning classes or those things that often come with an extra cost. There was another space for that too.
For sure. So if you're headed on there, let us know what you think, if you enjoyed the gym, if it had everything you were looking for. Let's jump down to the casino. So we don't spend a lot of time in the casino, but we'll talk about it. I do have a quick tour. It's in its own video. Maybe I'll link that below if you do want to have a walkthrough of it. It's kind of three big arms, and there's table games on both sides and a lot of games kind of down the different arms.
It's true. It's bigger than you initially may think it is.
Yeah.
Because you can walk through really close to the atrium and pass through it pretty quickly and not realize there's different sections.
Yeah, and there was a closed off smoking section in there as well. So fairly large. I would say larger than some of the casinos I've seen on similar size ships.
Okay, yeah.
So so that's down right next to the atrium.
I know there's something else by the atrium that I like though.
There is, and I know I already mentioned this. There's a Starbucks in the atrium, and there's also one in the Indulge food hall.
Which I love. That's amazing.
So, of course, you do have to pay for Starbucks on the ship.
Or you can get one of the packages.
You can, yeah.
Yes, there are some packages that include Starbucks.
Yeah, but one of my favorite things is they do sell these actual official Starbucks mugs that are Norwegian Prima mugs, and so if you collect Starbucks mugs like we do, it's a great souvenir to bring home. So we were excited that they had those. They had them throughout the cruise, but you could tell people were buying them. So we did wait after the first day to buy it on the second day, so we didn't have to pay the taxes while we were in port.
The benefit of being in international waters is there wasn't any extra taxes.
Yeah. So, but yeah, if you collect them like us, a great souvenir to bring home. So 2 of those, convenient. But, well, I shouldn't say but. There's lots of cool things on this ship.
Oh, there is.
Let's jump over to the next thing.
Yeah.
The Prima Theater.
I really like this theater because I have seen some other very versatile theaters like this one that don't work as well. But I felt like this one worked well.
For a versatile theater, yes. It wasn't a traditional theater.
No. So it had like stadium style seating that they could push all the seats away. And then they would have a flat floor that they could have parties or whatnot in there.
Well, they could do dancing in there. They had opened it up on the first day where you would sign up for restaurants,
shows.
and the shows, that sort of thing. So it worked much better than other ships we've been on where it's kind of convertible because it was stadium style seating.
With proper seats.
Yes.
Like they were comfortable seats. So that's important to me.
And the theater itself is actually 3 levels. So there's the main level, there's the mid level, and then the upper level, which was almost up by the ceiling. And actually, the ceiling somehow could move up and down a little bit. So there was all sorts of lights. It was kind of interesting. I noticed
it was. I would actually recommend that if you're going to some of the big shows and you really want to see a good view, I would do the first or the second floor. The third floor, I found sometimes some of that stuff up on the ceiling was in my way a bit.
Yeah.
But other than that, I really liked the theater.
And we would sneak in sometimes. It would be before it started, but at kind of last minute before a comedy show, and we'd sit up on the 3rd level and you could see fine.
And then it didn't matter though, right? If you've got a little bit of stuff moving.
The one thing that was cool up there is if you're actually up there, there's these things that fold down, and someone's actually sitting like up in the lighting. In the lighting. I could see their feet wiggling. At first I was like, what's that? And then I could see it was actually a chair. They're like above the lighting. It was kind of neat. So watch out for that.
That's not a job for me.
No. But again, very versatile, and we saw quite a few shows in there. It was great.
Yeah, it was nice. I enjoyed that.
So, Deck 8 outside.
Now, I love how Norwegian does their Deck 8, which I've seen on other ships, that you can walk around and they have...
Not necessarily always Deck 8, though.
No, that's true. But they had this really nice concept and they built on that.
Kind of, it would be the equivalent of the promenade deck.
Yes, the outside one, which is such a lovely, lovely space.
So it did go all the way around. So you could walk all the way around, although it wasn't designed for walking like a promenade.
No, don't think that you're going to get to jog around, because you're going to be going all the way around.
Zigzagging.
Yeah. It is not built for jogging.
But it was beautiful. Like if you wanted to stroll around a couple of times, there would have been no problem.
Oh, we did. We enjoyed that. We really liked that.
Lots of chairs out there. There's 2 infinity pools.
One on each side.
Yeah. So kind of matching. Lots of comfortable stairs there. Or seats. There's really cool seats and art mixed into it.
Sculptures. And binoculars that are free to use. You don't have to put any quarters in.
They're kind of like the ones you'd see in movies at
kind of
like Niagara Falls, where it's this big kind of robot looking thing, something from Star Wars. But it's fun.
That is nice to have.
And both sides of the ship have the glass walkway that goes out over the edge, kind of in the middle.
Yeah, it's kind of where the atrium area is. That's very neat. I like that.
Yeah. Backing up, back to the infinity pools, I just wanted to mention the hours.
Okay,
Typically, those outdoor pools on that deck were open from 7 a.m. to 8 p.m. And I noticed there was, on some of the pools, some variations in timing, but those ones out there were 7 a.m. to 8 p.m. They're
really beautiful pools. They're really nice for cooling down, but they're not the kind of pool that you're going to expect to swim laps in.
No, it was more... a lot of people would sit along the edge and you kind of plop into the pool.
Great for cooling off and taking in the view, but not really an exercising pool.
Good for the Caribbean.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Also on Deck 8, so inside, there was kind of a walkway that went down the side, and they had a unique shops there. It was more of kiosks kind of set up along the side of it.
And they kind of changed throughout the cruise. There was different things being sold there.
Yeah. So you could actually walk through those shops when it was closed. When they were closed, they just kind of closed everything off. So it was almost kind of part of the walkway.
Yes.
Whereas they did actually have some regular shops as well in the atrium area.
That's right. Yeah.
That they fully shut down. But this was kind of kiosks that you'd walk through. So I really enjoyed Deck 8. It's probably my favorite area on the ship. So
it's the place to be. Deck 8 is where it really shines.
For sure. There's also some cool venues in there. So it's the Sid Norman's. I don't know if there's anything extended on Sid Norman's Rock House, or I'm not sure what it's called. But Sid Norman's is a really fun and creative space.
Even the chairs are all different from each other in there. Like there's so much thought into every item put into that room.
Yeah.
That just walking into it is quite the experience.
Yeah. So it's got the little stage in there. There's a bar in there. All sorts of comfy seating. It reminded me of a little bit of the coffee shop in Friends, but way cooler than that.
Oh yeah.
So, but like, all
Yeah.
sorts of different chairs and just kind of...
It has like a small pub feel.
Yeah,
It's
for
very
sure.
cute. Very cute.
So they did host all sorts of music in there, as well as
Trivia. We did trivia.
And all sorts of stuff. So it's a small venue, so I would go early if you're going there, because it does pack out for sure.
It does.
Across the way, we didn't actually see anything in there, but I think it's across the way.
Yeah.
There's an improv club as well.
Yes.
Which I did step in there. It's fairly modern as well, and
But we didn't take in any of the activities there.
no, it was a busy cruise because we did have 4 port days.
It was
So
very
on a
busy.
7-day cruise, so there was only the 2 sea days, so it's hard to fit everything in on the ship when you're in port for the day.
Definitely, I felt like in 7 days we didn't get to try everything.
Yeah. So let's jump back into the Penrose atrium because it is a beautiful atrium. Lots of glass, as we'd mentioned, especially to the sides where those glass walkways are on the outside.
And it's floor to ceiling, I believe, glass from like looking out from the atrium that way. It's very pretty. Lots of seating.
Yeah.
It was very, very nice.
Lots of cool spots that you could take a photo, like really nice scenic photos.
I think there were artificial trees, but by some of the doors, people would take photos there, especially if you're trying to get that outdoor look, but you don't want your hair messed up in the wind. It was a really nice spot.
You had some epic photos in the wind.
I should have probably taken my photos inside. It was fun though. We had fun.
Yeah. I don't know if you'd mentioned this in the video, but we were talking about that area though. It seems small, the atrium. But
Like the part you look down seems small.
but the seating areas made it much wider. So it wasn't just narrow beside it. It was quite wide with loungers or seating areas in there.
Yeah, it expanded back. Like the Starbucks is set back from the atrium.
And lots of seating. You could walk around and jog and find little seating and different things.
Just
back
not
there.
actual jogging.
No, like jig jog. And it did feel like the central hub and a hangout area.
Especially with the shopping, the seating, and really appreciate there being a coffee shop.
Yeah.
It was just a really nice, environment. It was really good.
Yeah, because other atriums we've been in have been underwhelming. And this one, I would say, was quite nice.
It was really nice.
Yeah,
I enjoyed it.
So wishes.
We do have
a few wishes we want to mix in here.
So I really like the atrium area.
Mm-hmm.
However, the part that you look down on where they would host some of the activities is quite small. And there's no like dance floor or stage. And so when they hold those activities, it just didn't seem like the right space.
Yeah.
It felt too small when we did the dancing lessons, or I did the dancing.
Yeah.
There wasn't enough room, and there really wasn't that many of us dancing.
Even though there's lots of room around with seating, but the actual area you hosted that was small.
No, because you were stuck kind of between the chairs. It was they could have used a little bigger space there.
For sure. And there's no, I don't know if you had mentioned this, but there was no stage.
No stage, yeah.
So, and I'm not talking about a big stage, but even like a 1 foot up kind of thing where everybody kind of either plays their guitar or what presents from. Because we went and saw I think it was the senior staff question and answer period was held in that area. And they were just lined up on chairs, and it just seemed weird. It wasn't like they were up on the stage, or it was almost like a mixed among
the presentation wasn't great.
Yeah.
Just didn't go through. Like, I'm going to talk about when we were on the Norwegian Joy. Something that they had different there is they had like a big TV or a
screen.
Yeah, and they would they would record it and they would cast it onto there. So no matter where you were in the atrium, you could see what was happening.
Yeah.
And I really like that.
Yeah.
So this didn't have that. It just was a little bit different.
So somehow a little stage area could be incorporated in there. It'd probably be a little bit better.
Yeah, for sure.
So now there's going to be some wishes in the next part. I'm just going to tell you that outright. There's some great stuff there, but the next part is probably not the shining star of the ship, I would say.
No, and there's many shining stars on this cruise.
Yeah.
But there's just some things that I wish were a little different.
Yeah, and most of that has to do with the kind of pool area, the Lido deck, deck 17, 18 and 19, that kind of area. So there's a lot of good stuff there, but there's definitely some wishes for sure from our perspective.
Yeah.
So
there is like a really nice big pool with 2 hot tubs. There's water slides, the kids splash area.
yeah,
Those things are great. Oh, and this I love. You don't have to check out your beach towels there.
no, they're just on the chair.
They're just there and they're easily available. There's no scanning your card or worrying about losing the towel. Like I love that. Like that just makes it relaxing. There's no stress about towels.
Yeah, no, that's really good. But there is a few issues in that area.
There are.
So it's too small. I'm just gonna say it. It's too small.
It feels crammed in.
Yeah.
There's not enough loungers in that area. There's and because of the way the ship is designed, you've got the racetrack on one side,
Kind of above the buffet, but towards the back.
so you know, on other cruise ships you might be able to watch stuff from the Lido deck, but you're really missing those viewing platform spaces.
There
to be
wasn't
part of
really
it.
like 2 or 3 tiers that you could look down on the pool that are full of loungers. There was up by the water slide maybe a 15-foot area that you could
Maybe 10 people could stand there
and watch,
maybe.
but that's it. And even the stage area when they sail away party and stuff, it was just too small. So
I couldn't really see what was happening. It was hard to watch from anywhere.
this is, out of all the cruises we've gone on, this is by far the least amount of time we've spent on the Lido deck.
It's true.
So we spent a lot of time down on deck 8 because of this. We just couldn't find chairs.
We gave up. We actually saw some people just put their beach towels right on the pool deck and just laid on the ground because there were no loungers.
Yeah. And I do want to mention the other wish.
This is a big wish for us.
This is the first cruise we've ever gone on that we haven't used the hot tubs.
Which is amazing because we love the hot tubs and we usually spend way too much time in a hot tub.
Because, you couldn't find, first of all,
2 reasons.
a spot. Well, let's see what your reasons are.
Well, they were full.
Yeah.
You couldn't get in.
Yeah.
There's just no way you could squish in. And then felt like the hours were a little limited. Because often we'll go up late in the evening when it's quiet. But they shut usually between 9 and 10.
Yeah, so I just went back and looked at our dailies there, and the hours were typically from 7 to 9, and on a couple of days it showed 10. And the main pool up there was 8 a.m. to 8 p.m., and then some days it showed 10. So, but usually 8 o'clock. So kind of 7 and 8 a.m. between the hot tub and pool till 8 to 10. And which is, the 10 would have been fine, but the one day we went there for 9:20 when it was supposed to be open till 10 and it was closed.
So we were
I don't know.
so disappointed.
Yeah, so I get it. It's
not
happen.
where that's not their big shine.
Yeah.
But that's one thing.
I will say this though, we were traveling on spring break.
We were.
So it was as full as the ship can get basically.
Yes. So you think whenever they have those extra berths, all those beds were full.
Yeah.
We were full.
And another thing that probably contributes to this is because behind the buffet, you'll find the Vibe Beach Club, which is something you do pay extra for.
That sells out.
It was sold out on our cruise because we did actually ask on the first day. And then behind that, I believe, is the Haven. So those areas take a large majority. I shouldn't say a majority, a big chunk of the Lido deck area, and it was definitely noticeable.
And then when you add the racetrack too, like all those things, they take up space. And I think they felt it was okay because deck 8 is beautiful. But what happens is when the pool is on each side, often one of the pools is in the shade. And so then everybody goes onto the sunny side.
Yeah.
So it becomes even more full.
But I mean, it's a beautiful looking area. It's very well maintained. It might be better in a shoulder season cruise where there's not as many people. But for our sailing, it was not ideal.
Unless you're an early bird and you take your spot.
Yeah. Let's jump into the buffet area because I know I'd seen a lot of complaints about the buffet before we even sailed on this cruise. I'm like, how could it be that way? And it was way too small as well. I'm just going to say it as well. It was way too small.
Both for seating and the amount of stations.
Yeah.
I felt like there was enough variety, but it would have been nice if things were offered twice. So you know how often when you go to your classic cruise buffet, they'll have the same thing on each side.
Yeah, down both sides of the ship.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They didn't have this because on the one side, they had their specialty restaurants.
Yeah, the Palomar and the Food Republic.
Yeah. So this took up what typically you would expect to be the other side of the buffet.
Yeah.
So I felt like you only had one side of the buffet. So there wasn't nearly enough seating. Often at breakfast, we did go and eat in the Republic because they would open up seating in there, which was nice. The Food Republic, yeah, which was nice. But if you wanted anything else for food, you had to go back
across the ship and
to the other side. They did bring in some beverages and things, and it was fine, but it's not ideal.
Yeah. The food was good.
Yes.
But it was on the small side. Now on the same deck, so one of the cool things though, and this kind of is the redeeming quality of that deck, would be the observation lounge, which is towards the front of the ship. So a really comfortable area that wraps around the front of the ship. Actually wraps around the Galaxy Pavilion, so the kind of VR arcade.
It's in the center.
It's in the center and it wraps around it. So that's lots of loungers, lots of comfy seats, lots of great views in there. They did have a small little, I don't want to call it a buffet, but maybe it's a tiny buffet, but mostly snacks and
some grab and go,
light coffee,
sandwiches, or maybe some like desserts.
So it was fun.
It was nice.
We enjoyed sitting in that area.
And it would be very easy to miss that space though. And if you have really hot or really cold weather, it's nice because you can view everything from that temperature controlled space.
Yeah.
It was nice.
So, I mean, there were several bars through this area as well. There's all sorts of games. So there was some fun areas for games as well. So if you haven't been on a Norwegian cruise before, lots of their ships, or several of their ships, have go-kart tracks.
Yes.
So the go-karts was a 3-story go-kart on here. It was a lot of fun.
It's quite amazing.
Yeah.
Really.
Yeah. So there's that. There's the tea time mini golf. There's the bullseye darts. There's the stadium area, which had like ping pong in a cylindrical tube, shuffleboard, pickleball, sit down soccer, and then the dry slides, the drop, and the rush.
Yeah, a lot of fun stuff there.
So there's a lot of stuff in this ship to do, and you just some of them are just really busy.
And a lot of those activities too were actually not in the direct sunlight, which was good. So if you're trying to get a break from sun tanning on a lounger, you can enjoy the shady area. Yeah. It was really a pleasant space.
So, I mean, all in all, I would say the layout and amenities is quite good on this ship, other than that Lido deck area.
Yeah.
I mean, deck 8 was phenomenal. One of our favorites that we've been to. So, if you can get over that, and it is still a beautiful ship.
I think the vibe would be totally worth it.
Yeah.
Or being in the Haven. Like, those are two things that would really just make your experience complete.
Yes, I would agree. So that's the layout and amenities here on the Norwegian Prima. So let's jump into our cabin. We had an inside cabin, 10161, kind of midship, right next to the elevators actually, on deck 10.
I was really worried about that, being right next to the elevator. Because I was worried we would hear the elevator.
Yeah.
But I never heard the elevator once.
I was shocked we didn't hear the elevator once.
No. It was actually a very quiet cabin. I did hear people go down the halls at times when, they're laughing at that kind of thing.
That was typically the late at night, someone heading back to their room from the bar type of
laughing.
Noise.
Yeah.
But the elevator noise and people waiting for that, not once did I hear it.
And I never heard noise from the cabin on the other side of us either.
No.
I couldn't hear talking or TV.
Or behind the cabin. Sometimes there's hallways behind the cabin, and we didn't hear anything from that either.
I heard occasional in the evening, but not late evening, some rolling sound.
Oh, okay. Interesting.
But it wasn't while we were trying to sleep.
No.
So it was
for sure.
for trying to sleep, amazing.
Yeah. So the cabin was beautiful. Lots of light in there. That's the first thing I noticed. It was probably, I'm gonna just say it. It was probably one of the nicest, if not the nicest, inside cabins we've stayed in. Not necessarily the biggest, but one of the nicest.
Again, that I love that gray look. It's very clean, sleek, and like you said, a lot of lighting. So it was very bright,
modern design.
I didn't feel claustrophobic in it at all. It was very pleasant.
Yeah, no, for sure. I want to talk about. I think let's just start out with plugs.
This is important to
This
us.
is important to
Ken,
us.
This is really.
So there was in the vanity there was 2 regular plugs, and then a European plug, a USB-A, and a USB-C port, which was really nice.
Good.
And then beside the bed, so one side had a traditional regular North American plug, the other side did not, which there were so many plugs it didn't matter. There was 2 USB ports, USB-A and 2 USB-C ports. So I think, was it one on each side of each, I believe.
I don't recall.
But there was lots of plugs, so which was nice.
It was really nice. It was easy to charge all our stuff. I could use my curling iron. We had, it was really wonderful. And even we brought that adapter for the European one.
Yeah.
For the plug that was under the TV.
Yeah.
Which was good because then you could charge all the batteries and stuff below the TV. And then I still had the vanity area to myself.
Even though there was lots of plugs, we did use I have a European plug adapter that you plug in and it gives you an extra USB ports, and we really like those. So it's one of our favorite things that we bring on a cruise. You can check that out.
But it was nice to be able to move our stuff onto that other desktop area. It was really convenient.
For sure. Storage.
I thought the storage was good. A little interesting I'm just going to say it now, is that there was no full length side for dresses.
Okay.
Like there was like a longer end, but if you had a true evening gown long, there wasn't a side long enough.
Is that one of your wishes?
You know what? It didn't affect me.
Okay.
So I wasn't bothered by that, but just a good to know.
Yeah. Okay.
Definitely a good to know.
So, I mean, I would say there was definitely enough storage, especially because there was drawers in the vanity area that were quite large. And they were deep, kind of under the TV area.
Okay, yes, I did like that. And they pulled out really nice. And they were, like, really deep.
Yeah, and you might laugh that I'm going to say this. They were really smooth and they rolled really well. Because we've been on ships where you can barely get the
bearings have worn out.
Yeah.
I've actually had one where the bearings came out.
The little ball bearings rolling all over. So, everything was still very well maintained. There was a hairdryer. Was it powerful enough?
Did the job.
Did the job. And there was a little cooler fridge.
Yes.
And it was actually
quite cold.
Quite cold. Colder than... I don't know if it's still... sometimes it's just classified as a cooler and sometimes it's a fridge. And I'm not sure what this was classified as. But it definitely was on the cooler side.
If you were coming with medication that had to be refrigerated, I would still contact Norwegian to verify that. But we found it nice and cold for our drinks.
Yeah. So the bed...
It was comfy.
It was comfy.
Very comfy.
The linens were nice. The pillows were nice. It was comfy. And usually the test for me is, did I wake up with a sore back? I didn't wake up with a sore back. There's been times where we've woken up with sore backs on a cruise ship. Not on this one.
And the pillows were good.
Yeah.
I slept really good. The one thing, though, that was interesting is you can see under the bed on this. There's no like curtain hanging down.
Yeah.
So if you're like many of us, you like to store your suitcase under the bed. It was a tighter squeeze.
It did fit though.
It did, but not all suitcases will fit.
No, not if you have a really fat suitcase.
Yeah. Like I had to kind of like.
Well, we had bought 10 pairs of shoes.
That's true.
So our suitcases were still full. Anyway. But the other thing, so the walls and ceiling were metal. So our hooks that we like to hook on everything, those worked. If you want some of those, we'll link them in the description. But they're great for hanging things like hats or putting up our daily news on the wall, that sort of thing.
Like we keep our schedule right against the wall. And our lanyards we hang up. It just keeps everything organized. It's much easier to find your things. I like the hooks.
So, yeah, for sure. The room really was a shining light for an interior cabin, but even brighter than that was the washroom.
Before we get there,
Oh,
I'm going to
okay.
say one more thing. I was first worried that it wasn't cold enough
Okay.
when we got into the cabin, but it actually cooled right down and got nice and chilly because I felt a little panicked at first. So if you get in there and you're like, oh no, this is too warm, give it some time. It will cool down.
Well, you did have to have your key card in for the cooling system to work. So if you walk in there and there's been no key card for a few hours, it might be on the warmer side, but it did cool down. Yeah. But the shining star was
Yes.
definitely the washroom.
It was huge.
For an inside cabin, it was huge.
For
Yeah.
a cruise ship, it's huge.
Yeah. Well, not like suite.
Not not the size of your house.
No. But if you have a suite on a cruise ship, it's not that
No,
huge. But
but
for an inside cabin or even a balcony cabin, it was big.
it was big.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was impressed.
Yeah. So it had a big, I would say like almost double the size shower of what we've typically had in a inside cabin with a full like glass or acrylic door. It was so nice, like not being wrapped up caught in the shower curtain. It was nice.
And the shower head.
The shower head was amazing. A multi-spray, 4 sprays or 5 sprays.
And it went adjusted up and down, and there was lots of headroom.
Yeah.
There was no bending down to put your head under.
There was drawers in there, a big modern sink.
The one drawer you could easily miss. I think it took us a day to find.
Yeah.
It was the one right next to the toilet, and it had a hand bar or a towel bar on it.
Yeah, I think when we first went there, we thought it was just the towel bar, but it actually
opens up, which is great if you want to put some personal items in there. It was really handy.
Yeah. And then there was a fair bit of storage under the sink as well.
Lots of storage there.
The TV, I'll just mention it. It was maybe a 40-inch TV. And there was a fair amount of free on-demand movies. One wish I will say, though, because I do like it when they have on-demand like comedies and sitcoms.
Ken loves
and
sitcoms.
So I don't think there was any of that, or if there was, it was very minimal.
Yeah.
So I do appreciate when they have that. But there was a fair amount of free movies, and I think some you paid for as well. So
I watched quite a few.
of the paid for ones?
No.
I didn't look at the bill. Good thing I won at Price is Right.
It is a good thing.
So the other thing is I'll go back out. There was outside the bathroom, there was, I believe it was 4 hooks outside the bathroom. Which was
excellent.
Nice as well on the wall. And there was a light switch right by the bed so you could turn off the main lights when you're laying in bed, which was nice.
It was really handy.
Yeah. Do you have any wishes on the cabin? Because I don't really have any. Like we've stayed in a lot of inside cabins and like it was almost perfect.
No, I really liked this cabin. Like I said, it didn't feel claustrophobic. It felt big enough. It was a relaxing space to head to.
Yeah. So there was a couple of notes or take note of this.
Okay.
Things. You'd wanted to talk about the cleaning.
Yeah. So I wouldn't put this as a wish. This is more just be aware and know. It appeared for us that our room was cleaned later in the day.
Very late in the day.
So after 3 o'clock. And so this is not a problem to us.
Sometimes almost right before dinner, like 3 to 5-ish. Yeah.
And this isn't a problem for me, except I like fresh towels every day when I'm on a cruise. At home, I don't, but I find in the bathroom nothing dries. And so the towels are quite wet. So I do drop them on the floor, hoping for some fresh towels.
Yeah.
And so the only time I found this to be an issue is when you come back from being in port all day and you want to have a shower and now your towels are on the floor.
Yeah.
So that being said, our room steward was in the hall. We could have asked him at any time for towels. I really try not to bother them too much. I know they're very, very busy. Or we could have grabbed one of the towels up from the pool deck, which would have been quite easy. So that was the only little hiccup for me. I'm wondering if their start time is a little bit later or if we were just at the end of, our room steward's rotation. I'm not sure.
Yeah.
But it was a little bit later.
I know I said I didn't have any wishes, but
Oh, you lied?
I lied. I actually thought of one.
Okay. Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Do you know what it is?
Yeah.
And this is so dumb, but the bathroom door really slams.
Really slams. And so this isn't just like us noting this. We overheard people talking about how they were like tying up their bathroom door to the closet in the hall to try and keep it
To
open.
the main door, like with their belt and things.
Yes,
Yeah.
so to keep it from
Slamming.
because
So
it was loud.
it was loud and a big thug. So watch your fingers. If you're...
Yeah. It's noisy.
And not really a wish, but I prefer a closed-in nightstand as well. Like these were open.
I like
the
that for
most
putting,
part.
like, if you have any medication or if you have, like, small earbuds, it's nice to have things closed in and put away. It looks tidier, and I feel like I'm less likely to knock things under the bed and lose them.
It was fine, but it's just
A preference.
not my number one choice. But amazing inside cabin from all the ones we've stayed in. I think this was probably my favorite.
Yeah,
So,
I'd be happy to stay there again.
yeah, so it was awesome. So that's our thoughts on our cabin on the Norwegian Prima. All right, Andrea, the free food and restaurants on the Norwegian Prima.
Well, let's talk about it. So just to specify, we're going to talk about the free restaurants, not all the restaurants.
Yeah, we did eat at Cagney's Steakhouse,
Which was fantastic.
which was fantastic, but we're not going to go into that. We're going to talk about the free food today. So let's start out with the main dining rooms.
I loved the big main dining room. I loved Hudson's.
Hudson's was my favorite out of the two. So there's the Commodore room and Hudson's. Hudson's was much bigger. They both served the same food,
Same menu.
but Hudson's was glass floor to ceiling, kind of circular around the back of the ship.
If you like an ocean view, you want to go to Hudson's because it was beautiful.
And when you get a window seat, especially, it's a bonus, especially when you're in an inside cabin.
we realized maybe we like the window because we get the inside cabin. We take in the view while we can.
Yeah. So lots of natural light.
You might need to bring some sunglasses.
We did at one point.
Yeah.
Depends where you're sailing.
Or what angle the ship is at. So if you kind of don't like the sun shining on you, maybe look and ask for a seat away from the window. But if you're like me and you like the sun, it's lovely.
Yeah.
Really lovely.
And they have tablecloths. I know it's dumb. I really like the tablecloths.
I do too. I think it makes everything quieter. There's not the clanking of cutlery and cups, and it just seems formal. It's one of the reasons that I love to cruise. I feel like every night is date night.
Yeah.
And I get to go out on a date with you. We dress up, we clean up, and you get to sit at a nice formal. It feels classy. I love it. I really like it.
And the nice thing on the ship, I noticed the tables were not really tight. Like they were, they're still close, but sometimes on a cruise, your table is 6 inches from
Sometimes
the next
I thought
person.
I could just put my hand through. Maybe
Yeah.
they're so tight.
So there was a little bit more distance, which was nice. Like people aren't necessarily listening to your conversation, but it was nice.
It was perfect. I loved it.
And one other big pro,
yeah.
physical menus. They actually
yeah.
don't assume that you're going to scan a QR code or a barcode to see the menu. It's just given to you, which it makes me happy.
It feels less rushed too.
Yeah.
It's part of the dining experience to sit down and look at your menu. I do like to peek out the menu ahead of time, but that does help the dining experience.
Yeah. So I will throw in one wish here though.
Okay.
The menus were often dirty. There was like smudges of food on them and stuff. So I wish if they see they're dirty,
Don't reuse them.
Yeah, don't reuse them.
They are...
And not just once, like multiple times.
They're truly just a paper, like on a heavier paper stock, and they're not inside any kind of sleeve.
No.
So if people have handled food at all, then it transfers onto it. So sometimes it looks a little dirty. It's not the greatest.
But other than that, it was great. So I quickly in the main dining room, we went for breakfast on a few occasions. There were some great things there. I really enjoyed the fruit salad.
Yes.
Mine actually on one occasion had like blackberries and blueberries on it, which was really good. You we usually both get this fruit or the yogurt parfait. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I do like that.
Yeah. So lots of different pastries and cinnamon buns, different things like that. Sometimes they'll even bring you like a basket of them, even if you only
That's
want
for
one.
one.
Yeah.
Then I'm like, oh no, I have to eat them all. And it's like, no, I don't. But I want to. I want to.
So some of the main, there's cinnamon raisin French toast. I know you've ordered that a few times.
That was good.
Lots of different eggs options. Omelets, I like to order those. Eggs Benedict, I think you had that. So you can get like sausage, bacon, kind of all the fixings, hash browns with that. I've ordered this a few times now. It's called, I'm probably going to butcher how you say it, huevos rancheros. It's kind of in a tortilla breakfast. Like it's quite good.
It's a little spicy.
It is.
He likes spicy.
I enjoy that. And then for dinner, there's so many things to like. Appies, bruschetta.
Yeah.
That's one of my faves. Tostados. I haven't had that before, but it's like these loaded. There's like 3 of them, but they're loaded with all the toppings. I mean, there's way more than we're going to mention here, but the Asian spare ribs, beef slider.
That's totally
up my alley. Lots of different salads: Greek salad, spinach
I
salad.
love spinach.
Yeah. Any of those your favorites? There's mushrooms too. I think.
I really like the salads. We're good.
Yeah. Yeah. I know you like the baby spinach salad. So some of the mains. So we had pork spare ribs. You had the shrimp fettuccine Alfredo. And I think you ordered that twice.
I did.
Yeah.
And it is. I loved it. It also had mushrooms in it. It was so just perfection. I really like that one.
Some of the others, chicken piccata. They had a barbecue mix grill, which had, I think it was ribs and chicken and a sausage on it. You could get steak every day with fries. There's the fried chicken or country fried chicken, I think it was called. And way more than that. Fish, they had all sorts of stuff.
Again, not enough time to try everything.
Yeah. And desserts, creme brulee.
Oh, I love creme brulee. It's good.
But I'll name it last, my favorite one.
Yeah,
but
I know where you're going.
Carrot cake, cannolis.
That, I think, is the first time I've ever had a cannoli. And I have seen on Everybody Loves Raymond that Ray loves the cannolis. And now I know why, because I, too, love cannolis.
Cannolis? All right. I'll have to buy you some cannolis.
Yes, please.
There was different cakes, Black Forest cake, apple cobbler. The Snickers pound cake was really good.
Very sweet, very sweet.
And then our favorite was the Nutella creme brulee.
We might have to go back just for the Nutella creme brulee.
That was really good.
That was really good.
Yeah. So we'd already kind of mentioned the One Wish. The menus were kind of dirty. And the service was good, but the speed was kind of fluctuated a little bit.
It did fluctuate.
So
I don't mind that too much, but do be mindful of that if you're trying to catch a show. You're going to need to time that out, because just because you got through the day before quickly doesn't mean you'll necessarily get through today quickly.
Yeah.
So leave extra time.
Yeah. So the service was great in there, and we had a great experience. Especially enjoyed the Hudsons.
Absolutely.
Now the other area, there's 2.
Did we talk about the Commodore though?
The Commodore room?
Yeah.
Okay, we can talk about it.
Well, we did say how it was the same menu and similar.
Yeah, but the food we just all went over.
The food is the same. I was going to say, though, they did have windows in there, but they're the big round windows.
Were they? I don't remember.
Yes, I remember, yeah.
Okay.
So, but doesn't have that same, feeling. So, that's all I wanted to say.
Yeah, no, it was still a nice restaurant, but a fair bit smaller.
Yeah, but if you're all about the view, go to Hudson.
Yes. All right. One of the coolest spots to eat on the ship.
This is a win-win-win.
Yeah.
Shine, star for me.
Indulge Food Hall. It was so cool. We went there lots of, for lunch quite a few times.
Many times.
And this is where the ship shines. So there was quite a few restaurants. So what it is, you sit down at a table, and there's a tablet at each table, and you can order from all these different restaurants, and they bring it out to you. I think almost everything there was complimentary or included with your cruise fare. There was some desserts and Starbucks was in there. Those were not included, but for the most part, most of the food.
Not the beverages. Like, Of course, you can
well, they
still
did
get...
have a complimentary beverage station in there.
They did, yes. But of course, if you're not on the alcohol package or whatever, you're going to pay for those drinks.
Yeah.
I will say, though, there were some spots up, I want to say like at a raised bar along the different areas.
Yeah.
And those had a limited menu of only food for that area.
Okay, from that specific kind of food
truck.
truck.
Yeah, so if you sat up at the bar in front of that kind of food truck, it was limited to that. But if you went and sat in a booth, you could order from
everywhere.
All of them.
Yeah. So there was some really cool restaurants in there. So the Garden, which had salads, you could put fish or
meat.
Chicken or beef on your salad.
Yeah.
I think we both ordered the kale one.
It was so good.
A few times.
I really enjoyed the fish. I know you enjoyed the steak.
Yeah. There's the Latin Quarter, which had like guacamole nachos, totopo. I don't know how to say it. Totopos, I think. It was like fully loaded nachos.
We're used to going out to a restaurant where they charge you extra for the guacamole, okay?
Yeah.
And you get your little tablespoon on the side. Wow. They like pile on that guacamole. Like I was just so happy.
It was good, yeah. So the Latin Quarter, if you like that kind of stuff, the tostados and different things. The Texas Smokehouse, pulled pork sandwiches, turkey sandwiches, different salads, potato salads, that kind of stuff. So more of the meat style. The Seaside Rotisserie, so chicken, beef shish kebabs, that kind of stuff, which was really good. There was tapas, so
I had fun trying these.
Yeah, meats and cheeses. There was those dates covered in, I think, bacon. The Tamara, I believe, was that Indian inspired? I believe.
I believe so.
So fish, chicken, rice. Noodles.
I had that one time.
Yeah, so there's pad thai, noodle soup, that kind of stuff. And then I think there was also an area, I don't remember what it's called. So the desserts you would go get
Self-serve,
yourself. They were self-serve and you would grab them. But there was also an area, there was a dessert area where a lot of it you had to pay for, but then there was an area where you could get free hard scooped ice cream. So... look around because sometimes there might be a couple other cool things there.
And the lunch and the dinner menu, though, were different. We never went there for dinner, but we did try it for breakfast and lunch.
Yeah, so breakfast, we did... It wasn't as big as the buffet, but it had, bacon, sausage, eggs, cereal, yogurt.
It's more of a grab and go.
Yeah, so or a self-serve.
And self-serve. It is quicker.
Yeah.
And you'd really like, too, though, that they did have the complimentary beverage station there.
I did, and they had little plastic cups, so if you wanted to grab something and go, you could easily do that.
They were the same size as the Starbucks cups, I noticed.
Okay.
They just had a different logo on them. And that is the only place I found on Deck 8 that had the complimentary beverage station.
Well... Because right outside of there was the hydration station, and I went there to get water, and then it was all beer and wine. And I'm like, well, okay.
So that would be a big wish, is to have water at the hydration station.
Yes, I would agree.
I love water outside.
It was hot on our Caribbean cruise.
Yeah.
So, if they'd had water there, that would have been
It would have stopped us from walking through the restaurant all the time.
Yeah. So let's jump back up to the Lido deck. So the Surfside... grill, I think, or is it buffet? Cafe?
I'm not sure.
One of them is the cafe, one of them is the grill. There's the buffet.
Yes.
So the food was the area was small, but the food was good.
Yes. Yeah.
So I enjoyed,
and the variety was good.
Yeah. So they had thick crust pizza. I think that might be the first time I've seen thick crust pizza.
Now, but was that just at lunch or breakfast? Because sometimes during the day it was thin crust, and other times of the day it was thick crust.
But they made it right there in the buffet. But I was happy because I really like the thick crust. And so when I saw that over the thin crust, because sometimes it was thin crust.
Yes,
so,
it varied from time to time.
Yeah. And it did, of course, the buffet varies throughout the week, but they had some really cool things. They had tacos one night.
Crepe station.
There was lots of fun desserts. And so at the back, that's what it's called. The Surfside Grill is at the back. So that's where it's kind of a burger bar. where there was patties, hot dogs, and you could make your own burger, some salads. So that's kind of attached to it, but it's at the back. I do have a couple quick wishes though.
Yes.
The Surfside Grill where the burgers was at the wrong end.
Yes.
Of the buffet. It was, you had to walk through all the buffet, from the pool, walk through all the buffet to the back to grab it.
To get a burger.
And typically you would want that by the pool. So it just felt like in the wrong end, because a lot of people just want to grab that, go sit back out in their lounger, and it just felt the wrong place. And the other thing, actually this isn't a wish, this is actually a really good pro.
Okay.
I call it the bacon police.
And this is very important for Ken.
Well, no, they didn't seem stingy. So sometimes we've been on a cruise and there's like, the reason I call it bacon police, because they'll hand you, like if you want bacon, they'll just give you one strip and they like limit, and then you'd have to come back.
Or it's not every day, it's every other day.
Yeah, and whereas this, it was just a
Help
pile
yourself.
of bacon. Not that I want a lot of bacon, but they're not being stingy about it. So I appreciate that.
I do too.
Any other thoughts about the buffet area?
You know, I just wanted to say one thing about where you said where the hamburgers and stuff were.
Yeah.
So if you stepped outside of that area too, you were overlooking the vibe area.
Okay, yeah.
And so then you kind of felt sad that you weren't
In the vibe?
in the vibe. The vibe looks really nice.
I should mention there was also a couple of complimentary beverage stations in there. So typically in the morning they'd have some juices, and then coffee and teas. And then later in the day it would be like fruit, mango or something punch type of thing with lemonade and iced tea. And then coffee and teas. So that's where you would get your complimentary beverages. So I mean the food I was happy with it.
It was nice. I liked it.
So now this is the other place I really like on the ship.
Okay. Yeah.
The local bar and grill.
Yes, and this is such a hit by Norwegian. It's something that we have enjoyed in the past.
Yeah. So there's two halves, or I should almost call it three.
Oh,
so there's the bar side of the local bar and grill. There's the restaurant side, and then you can sit outside as well.
The outside part is part of the restaurant part. The wait staff come to you there.
Yeah. So it's open all day. They do have breakfast, I think. We never went there for breakfast, but they do have breakfast. They have kind of lunch, dinner, and then late night options, which is less. But we're open till 3:30 in the morning.
Yeah.
I believe the local used to be open 24 hours a day, but it's till 3:30 in the morning. We're not up that late, so it doesn't bother us.
No, but it is nice if it's midnight and you're hungry.
Yeah.
There is options, and not just a little tiny sandwich.
And
There's
good stuff
options.
too. Wings. I don't remember what you could get late at night, but for sure at lunch, dinner they had things like wings, so buffalo wings, smoked barbecue, and sweet and chili wings. Loaded nachos. Those great.
Are good.
Those are really good.
Yeah.
Pretzel bites. You could get salads at Caesar salad. And I want to say the Caesar salad on this ship is probably the best.
You like
on all the cruises we've been on.
And Ken loves Caesar salad.
Yeah.
And he also doesn't think they're all equal. So this was a winner for him.
Fish sandwiches, burgers.
The fish sandwich, it is good. It's not greasy.
It looked like it was almost fish and chips in the sandwich.
It did. So
or not chips, but fish.
It's deep fried.
Yeah.
But it's not like, it's done right. It's not all oily.
Yeah.
It was tasty.
Yeah.
Really tasty.
There was a few burgers to choose from, as well as you could get fish and chips there. So some great options. So a couple of other wishes though. I think the ship could use another couple of complimentary beverage stations.
That would be nice.
Or like you'd mentioned,
even just water would be lovely. Yeah.
But any other thoughts on the free food?
No, I've always thought Norwegian does a great job on their food, and I enjoyed our food.
And there was in the observation lounge there was a small little buffet with
some sandwiches
and desserts and coffee, tea, and
as well as a bar there
water.
You could order stuff from. It was
so lots of free food. I didn't feel like we were eating the same thing over and over again all week.
And the good thing is the way Norwegian has done it is they have spread the food out over the ship. So you're either up on the Lido deck or you can be down on deck 8. There's lots of options. You're not all crammed into one space. I highly recommend though, trying and indulge and
Yeah.
going to the local. Don't just think buffet unless you really love the buffet. But
those other options were
there's a lot of options where
were awesome.
it shines amazingly.
Yeah, no, for sure. So we had a great experience with the free food and restaurants on the Norwegian Prima, and I'm sure you will as well.
Mm-hmm.
So the entertainment and activities on the Norwegian Prima. There's tons to do on this ship.
There is a lot to do, but let's start with something we've done before with Norwegian that we really love.
Mm-hmm.
It's really fun. Let's talk about the go-karts.
The go-karts are awesome. It's a 3-story go-kart track, kind of behind the buffet and above. It's fun.
It's fun.
It's $15 for about 8 minutes or so.
Mm-hmm.
And that was for individual riders. They did also have at times where a kid could ride with an adult. I'm not sure what the cost was for that. But it was a great option if you have little kids who want to go as well.
I do have a recommendation though. Make your reservations right away. And I would suggest, if it's important to you, book it for earlier on in your cruise, because if you get bad weather, they will shut it down.
Yeah.
If it's too wavy or whatnot, it will get closed and you may run out of time, and it's possible you may not be able to reschedule that.
They did end up shutting it down on our final sea day just because of weather.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if it opened back up, but do be aware of that. And I would highly recommend it.
It's a lot of fun. It's a great thing. Now, even though we only raced for about 8 minutes, the thing was the whole process took closer to an hour though.
Yeah.
So make sure you leave time. You don't think that you're just going to show up and be on the other side in 15 minutes.
Well, when we showed up for our reservation, we just missed a group. So then we had to wait for them to finish, and which is fine. But do budget a little bit of time
there's
for
a
it.
safety thing you go through, and they gear you up, and sometimes they have to help people off the track and stuff, so it can take a little longer. So make sure you are aware this could take a while, and it was pretty warm up there waiting too. So keep that in mind.
So they are electric go-karts. As I mentioned, it's a multi-story track. There's up and down. There's boost. And you can actually have people, there's little guns up on the deck where you can have your friends shoot the little light on your go-kart to give you a boost as well. And I mean, they're not super quick, but they're fun. They're what you'd expect from a go-kart. So,
it was fun.
Yeah, I would definitely recommend trying it out. And they were quite smooth as well.
They were. It was good.
There's also T10 mini golf.
Yes.
So we did try this. The sign said $5 per person. When we went to go play, it was being upgraded or something, so they let us play for free.
I think it might have been in a software update or something was happening. Yeah.
So we got to play the course for free. Now, I think the reason you pay for the mini golf is because you can win prizes when you play. So honestly, I think a wish would be that it was just a free mini golf course.
No prizes.
And no prizes.
See, because it's very unlikely, if you've seen me golf, that I would win any prizes, so I just prefer the free golf.
But it was a fun course, lots of obstacles and different things.
It's very bright and very creative.
Right next to that, they have the bullseye darts, which I believe was $10. The sign said it was $10 for 30 minutes, and up to 6 people could play, I believe. So we didn't try that out. We kind of checked out the area, but it was neat if you like that sort of thing, hang out there. There's also the stadium area. So it's kind of on the other side of the ship from this, where there was ping pong in a yellow kind of tube. So the ball would go back and forth. And
it definitely made it more challenging, but did keep the ball from flying off as much.
Yeah. So it
was tricky to play.
It was a unique kind of experience. Fun. It was different. There was shuffleboard in there.
Which was actually more fun than I expected.
Yeah, it was fun.
We were laughing, not taking it too seriously, but
the sit down soccer. I think there was a pickleball court there as well, and then this was the area where you would access the slides, the dry slides as well. So the rush, I believe, and I can't remember the drop. Yeah. So to be honest, those were complimentary. We did them on the last day, and they were pretty slow.
There's a little bit of an issue with humidity. It stops the blanket, I would call it a blanket, the little sack that you go into, from sliding.
Yeah.
So you kind of have to Inch yourself.
The beginning was quicker.
Yeah.
But the end, we kind of stopped early and had to scooch our way, inchworm our way out of there. So
it was a bonus workout.
it was fun though.
It was fun.
It's pretty dark too,
Yeah,
with
yeah.
a couple little holes.
Hey,
for
it's free. I'll try it.
Yeah.
It's all good.
But there's some other fun areas. So there's a kid splash pad area, I believe on deck 18. So if you're coming with little ones.
Which is nice because you are away from the pool then.
Yeah.
If you're not wanting to put little ones by the pool.
Yeah.
That's good.
Yeah. And there's a fairly large water slide, big water slide up there. And we didn't try it. We were going to try it on the last day. I think it was a tube one.
Yeah.
And it goes up kind of the other side. Like it's a...
The weather wasn't great on the last
So
day.
they'd shut it down.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
There's all sorts of games, fun games and things. So trivia and different things like that. So they would commonly host things like that in Sid Norman's, which was an awesome little venue.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, and I saw them in one of the bars too, doing a lot of trivia.
Stuff is happening everywhere, and they move it on all over the ship.
Q&A with the senior staff. So they held that in the Penrose atrium. Not the ideal place to host it, but it's always fun to hear from the senior staff about how the ship runs, how the toilets work, how the power of the ship.
I like that backside of that.
Yeah.
That's also where I worked on my dance moves too.
That is true.
Yeah.
Your
line dancing.
line dancing.
Which I think was the electric slide.
Rebranded as line dancing.
Yeah.
Yeah, you seem to know the dance, even though...
Yep. It's good. I know one dance. Kind of.
There's the one you knew.
The one I know. I was happy.
But let's jump over to the Prima Theater where they had some cool shows.
And I got a recommendation. You're going to try and book your tickets as soon as possible. Tickets are complimentary, but they do require a reservation. We couldn't book ours ahead of time on the app.
Yeah, I'm not sure if that's normal.
It said unavailable. So
Yeah.
I'm wondering if some sailings you can and some you can't. Because in the past, we have booked before the cruise.
And even when we got on the ship, we tried to book some of the shows for the Prima Theater on one of the TV screens, and it wouldn't let us either.
Nor the app.
No.
So we were actually a little bit lucky that we stumbled into the Prima Theater just to look around. And there was a lot of people in there. So we asked, like, what's going on? And they had set up kind of like a... What would you say?
Booths for the food, like if you want to book specialty dining and for the shows.
And two separate lines.
Yeah.
And so there we could reserve the tickets, both for Donna Summer's show and The Price is Right.
Yes. So I would say if you're having trouble booking your shows, ask someone if they're doing like that in the Prima Theater, or head there and actually look, because it would be really easy to miss that.
I'd also recommend look at your own personal schedule. What do you have planned for like the port date? Have you booked a specialty restaurant? Like look at your schedule so that you're not conflicting there.
Yeah. So Donna Summers, do you want to explain that?
Yeah, so this was kind of like a documentary about Donna Summers. And there's 3 actresses that play out different parts of her life.
Well, it's a musical / kind of documentary style of her life.
Yeah. And so they go through some of like her big hit songs and what happened through her life. So and it was quite a long.
Yeah. So it was about an hour and a half long. So it's not a bad thing. Just be aware of that.
Well, often cruise shows are 45 minutes.
Yeah.
So if you think you need to use the restroom or get a beverage, do that ahead of time, because this isn't just a short little quick show. It's a little bit longer.
Yeah. And I would say, so there's 3 levels in the Prima Theater. We sat on the very, very top. I wouldn't sit there for this one. I would try and get on the main bleachers part.
It wasn't horrible, but there was some parts that we couldn't see the stage fully from.
Yeah. So I would say I don't have a lot of knowledge of Donna Summers, but the music was really good. The singing was really good. So it's worth checking out if you're on there. My favorite thing that we got tickets for, though, The Price is Right. Come on. That was so good.
It was so good.
I have an extra like for this because I actually got selected. And I won some money. Yeah, so it was awesome. So it's The Price is Right live in the Prima Theater. And so it looks like a Price is Right stage. They've got the little bidding thing down at the front. The only difference was they actually called you down, like 4 people down, and then if you didn't win, you went back to your seat, and they'd called 4 new people, so more people.
A whole new round.
Yeah. So
more people got to play then.
Yes, for sure. So I won the first bidding round, and then I got to go up on stage and bid on other things for Plinko chips, and I got to play Plinko, which was amazing. And I won $425. Woo! I was so excited.
It was a great way to end.
It was the last night of the cruise. We were there too. So
we made money on the last night of the cruise. It was wonderful. Now, we didn't do anything to be selected.
No.
We didn't know that Ken was going to be called. It was a surprise.
Actually, the lady in front of us in line got selected as well.
Maybe it was like all our silliness.
I don't know.
Sure.
We when we'd see the cameras, we'd kind of wave, but I don't think we were doing anything abnormal.
No.
We
We didn't request to be selected. We didn't know. We did go pick up our name tags though.
Yeah.
It was listed in the schedule a couple times that you could go and they gave you a little tag with your name on it. So
yeah. And
you did need to go early.
Yes.
Like they told you to be early.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. It was fun. It felt just like The Price is Right.
Oh, I'm so excited.
And I would do it again for sure.
It's amazing. It's one of the best game shows I've seen at sea. It was fantastic.
Yeah. And the first time, like, one of us has either been in a game show on a cruise ship.
First time we won anything on a cruise ship.
Well,
it was good.
Well, our daughter won a cruise.
Oh yeah, the ship model. She did. Yeah.
She gave it to us, but we haven't really ever
not
won
us
anything.
Personally, no.
No, we've come close to winning the SpongeBob.
Trivia.
Trivia, but there was another table with 4 ringers, and we only had 1 ringer.
The 2 of us were hopeless. That was based on
our son's
knowledge. We're off by 1.
But there was comedy in the main theater as well, which we enjoyed. It was family friendly, the ones we saw in there.
They had adult shows too.
But the comedy was really good. I know that changes from week to week, so who we saw is likely not who you're going to see, but I was really happy with that.
Did you watch the schedule though? Because the comedy show was in different venues throughout the ship. So don't just assume, go to the theater. If there's something you like, check that schedule, watch it closely.
Yeah. Other than that, so lots of great entertainment and activities on the ship. We do have a few wishes though. Do you want to go or?
Well, because the Donna Summer show was on multiple nights and
The Price is Right.
The Price is Right, wasn't it twice on one day?
Oh, it could have been. Yeah.
I think so.
Okay.
But I think the Donna Summer show was on a couple different nights and that took up the main theater. There wouldn't be another big show. So I'm kind of used to going to some kind of main theater thing every night.
Yeah.
And there wasn't really that every single night. So some nights, which was fine, we just relaxed and walked around the ship and maybe took in some smaller kind of activities.
Music and Sid Norman's or trivia, that sort of thing.
Yeah. There wasn't a different big performance every night.
Yeah. So, I would say that that would have been a bit lacking. But there was still lots to do.
Absolutely.
For sure.
We had a great time.
I think our other wish, though, is the venue. The Prima Theater is a nice venue, but there wasn't any secondary large venue to host other things. So was that all or nothing kind of? Like there's Sid Norman's and the Improv Club or whatever, but they're quite small. So there wasn't a larger, and I'm not talking theater size, I'm talking one that maybe holds a couple hundred people.
And this impacted when they taught the dancing lessons or some of the, even when they saw the captains, or was it the captains, sorry, the people from the ship talking about
the senior officer type of talk,
there wasn't that secondary venue for those things.
Yeah, it could have, it would have been nice if there was something else
they
on there.
They needed one more big space.
I would call it more of a lounge. Larger lounge was missing. Yeah.
That really would have been good.
But other than that, I mean, the entertainment was wonderful. We really enjoyed it. How can you go wrong when you win $425 on a cruise? So, it was great. So those are our thoughts on the entertainment and activities on the Norwegian Prima. So hope you enjoyed our likes and wishes from our Caribbean cruise on the Norwegian Prima. We had a great time, and I'm sure you will as well if you're sailing on this ship. Thank you so much for watching. Make sure to hit that subscribe button so you don't miss out on any upcoming cruise videos. Until next time, thank you so much for watching, and happy cruising. Bye-bye.